Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we are absolutely dismantling the myth that you somehow need a traditional B.Tech degree and 2 years of experience just to land a SOC analyst job in India. We're going to break down exactly how you can go from zero knowledge to a working security operations center analyst. And, here's exactly why you should care about this right now. Thanks to the new Digital Personal Data Protection Act and Certs-In's really strict 6-hour breach reporting mandates, companies in India are just desperately hiring. We're talking about salaries starting at 3.5 lakh a year for absolute freshers, and that scales all the way up to 45 lakh for senior architects. Actually, if you build a solid home lab and a strong portfolio, you could even push that starting fresher salary up to a massive 6 to 10 lakh. So here is our roadmap for today. We'll cover 1, the SOC analyst boom. 2, your step-by-step roadmap. 3, essential tools and certifications. 4, beating the fresher trap. And 5, future trends for 2026. All right, let's jump right into part 1, the SOC analyst boom. Before we map out the actual journey, we really need to look at the reality of the 2026 job market. Opportunities are highly concentrated geographically. Bangalore is obviously the biggest hub, but Hyderabad and Pune are absolutely exploding right now. You've got Indian IT giants like TCS and Wipro, huge BFSI players like HDFC and ICICI over in Mumbai, and major MNCs like Microsoft and CrowdStrike. They all have massive security operations in India. Now, keep in mind, remote work is pretty rare for freshers because of those critical night shifts, but hybrid options open up rapidly once you level up to L2 or L3 roles. Moving on to part 2, your step-by-step roadmap. Here is the macro view of your next year. This is a completely free progressive 12-month roadmap. We're going to move chronologically from basic IT foundations to Windows environments, then building a home lab, getting real-world practice, crafting that bulletproof portfolio, and finally getting certified and applying. And remember, consistency is absolutely going to be intensity here. Okay, so for the first 4 months, your daily goal is just 2 hours of consistent study, 5 days a week. That's it. Use the free tracks on TryHackMe to learn how computers actually talk to each other. So TCP/IP, DNS, and some basic Linux commands. After that, move into Security Plus level fundamentals on YouTube. But here's the real secret sauce. You must master Windows event logs. Specifically, ID 4624 for successful logons, 4625 for failed logons, and 4688 for process creation. These are literally your bread and butter as an analyst. And make sure to document every single thing you learn in a free blog or a GitHub repo. Now, months 5 through 7 are where you really separate yourself from the pack. This is where you build a home security operations center to get actual hands-on practice. You'll want to install a free SIEM tool, something like Wazuh or the ELK stack, on virtual machines and start feeding logs into it. Once you've got that running, jump onto platforms like Blue Team Labs Online to investigate simulated alerts, like phishing emails or malware behavior. And definitely spend at least 40 hours learning a query language like Splunk's SPL or Microsoft Sentinel's KQL. So this brings us to months 8 and 9, and this is a crucial resume hack. Just look at the visual difference between listing a completed course versus stating you actively investigated 15 simulated phishing incidents using Splunk. Right? One is totally passive, while the other proves you actually went out and manufactured your own real-world experience. All right, let's look at part 3, essential tools and certifications. The key takeaway here is focus. You don't need to learn 50 different tools to succeed, you just need the right ones. I highly recommend learning just one tool deeply from each of these core categories, because these are the exact platforms Indian SOCs are using every single day. So master Splunk or Sentinel for your SIEM. Understand how ServiceNow is used for ticketing. You absolutely have to know Wireshark for network analysis, and definitely get familiar with endpoint detection tools like Microsoft Defender and threat intel feeds like MASP. Now, when it comes to certifications, degrees certainly help, but they're absolutely not mandatory. I have seen BCom graduates land these exact jobs. Just follow this 3-step India-specific path. Start with ISC2 certified in cybersecurity or CompTIA Security Plus. Then add a practical cert like Blue Team Level 1. And finally, grab a cloud cert like SC200 if you're aiming for cloud SOCs. Keep the ROI in mind here too. A 35,000 rupee investment in Security Plus can bump up your fresher offer by 1 to 2 lakh a year. That pays for itself incredibly fast. Okay, on to part 4. Beating the fresher trap. So getting the skills is really only half the battle. Now you have to bypass that frustrating trap of job postings demanding experience for entry-level roles. You can break this cycle by actively building public proof. Post your lab write-ups online. Screenshot those SIM dashboards. Use hashtags like hashtag SOC Analyst and hashtag Blue Team to attract recruiters who are actively searching for those keywords. But don't just sit back and wait for them. You need to network strategically. Direct message 5 SOC analysts and managers at target companies every single week. Ask for guidance. People genuinely love to help, and those casual conversations very often turn into internal referrals for jobs that aren't even publicly posted yet. And when you do finally score that interview, you have to be ready. To ace it, you need to practice top L1 questions out loud. Let's start with this classic scenario. How would you handle triaging a phishing email? Just think about that for a second. Your answer shouldn't just be a quick, "Oh, I deleted it." No way. You need to methodically hit these core incident response steps. Check the sender domain reputation, analyze the headers, identify suspicious links or attachments, check your logs to see if a user actually clicked it, isolate the affected machine, and escalate if needed. That shows real maturity and a structured mindset. Okay, let's move to the next critical question. This one tests if you actually built that home lab we talked about in month 5, and if you truly reviewed your logs. And this is exactly why we hammered those event IDs earlier. Memorizing these specific numbers is absolute gold for an interview. It proves your hands-on capability over just, mere theoretical knowledge. If you can confidently tell an interviewer that multiple 4625 failed logons, followed immediately by a 4624 successful logon, indicates a successful brute force attack, you're basically hired. Practice these answers out loud. Record yourself doing it. Remember, confidence beats perfection every single time. Finally, let's look at Part 5, Future Trends for 2026. Before we wrap up, we really need to future-proof your career so you don't just land a job but actually thrive in it. Look at these 4 exploding areas. AI is completely changing how SOCs work. You're going to be validating AI surface threats rather than doing everything manually. Also, the demand for cloud security skills like understanding AWS CloudTrail or Azure Sentinel is massive right now. Remote work security means you have to master zero trust architecture. And finally, the DPDP Act means companies are desperate for analysts who understand data privacy and breach notification compliance. Start learning about these 4 areas right now. Look, I totally get it. The networking, the logs, the certs, it can all feel a bit overwhelming. But every single expert started exactly where you are today, confused and probably a little overwhelmed. Take a breath. You now have the exact 12-month blueprint to bypass the entry-level paradox and tap into India's booming cybersecurity market. The demand is out there, and the tools you need are completely free. So the only question left is, will you let the lack of a traditional degree hold you back, or will you open your terminal today, type LS, and command your own future?